Of what happened at the BOS meeting, Board of Supervisors, and Supervisor Haschak did illuminate on that a little bit. So what happened at the Board of Supervisors, this was not Measure B related, but it is Measure B related, but we did not bring it as a recommendation, that the Board of Supervisors directed staff to look at both the ranch and Whitmore Lane as possible locations for the PUF and bring proposals back to the board, including cost and feasibility study of operating a PUF. Second, this was also not brought forth by Measure B, but was a Measure B consideration. The Board of Supervisors asked that Measure B conduct an annual independent audit of the Measure B funds, which we have not done. That is one of the things we have not done. Number 3, CIT trainings. This again was not technically, this had already been passed for the original training that we had brought forward, but it was a report provided to the Board of Supervisors at their request
And there was a motion to accept the presentation regarding the CIT training and direct staff to work with community stakeholders, the sheriff, county law enforcement, and return with a specific proposal to be funded by Measure B and present it on the consent calendar. In addition, to provide a summary to describe and compare the Memphis model with the mobile crisis response team model that has already been approved by Measure B. Number 4, this was brought forth as a Measure B recommendation. The Board of Supervisors is not approving a hiring of a consultant at this time. They did accept the Kemper report as a strategic plan, and they are asking Behavioral Health Recovery Services to use the Kemper report to develop a performance management plan and review what we have done so far. So please, any committee questions, comments, etc. on this, please. Yes, Commissioner Riley.
Thank you for that summary. I appreciate also having this on the agenda, because there has been a lot of action taking place at the Board of Supervisors meeting that we weren't necessarily privy to or updated on unless we happened to catch it during the meeting. I did watch the item at the Board of Supervisors on the 20th related to the recommendation to hire a consultant for the strategic plan, and frankly, it was pretty confusing. It started with Supervisor Williams, who has been strongly advocating for a detailed financial plan for months, saying, kind of forget it all, use the Kemper report as the plan, and just build a PUF if you do nothing else. So we're kind of all over the map here. And frankly, regarding the development of a strategic plan, I mean, this is something we've been trying to get done for years now. There was a committee that was tasked with it, the Kemper Ad Hoc Committee, specifically tasked with developing a strategic plan based on the Kemper report. And when that didn't happen, it was explained to us that we needed to modify the scope of work for that committee. So we did that, and it still didn't happen. And county staff told us that they didn't have the capacity to do this, which is why we recommended hiring a consultant in the first place to develop a plan based on the Kemper report. So now that the supervisors have directed this back to staff to develop a plan based on the Kemper report, it feels like we're exactly back where we started from. So that's just my comment. I don't really know what to do with it at this point. It honestly feels like this committee is pretty powerless to do anything about it. But it doesn't feel like any additional progress has been made in that. And my concern, I know I've been harping on this strategic plan for years now, is the transparency and the accountability that a public plan presents. While all of this activity is taking place with staff or at the Board of Supervisors or whatever, if there's a plan that is being followed, then at least we can reconcile those activities. Right now, we're not sure who's leading the show.
Thank you for your comments, Commissioner Riley. Appreciate them. Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner.
Commissioner. I have to say, from a Behavioral Health Advisory Board standpoint, I think we've been advocating for the adoption of the Kemper report as the model for years. So that feels very consistent to us. My question was, there's not really sufficient financial information, which I thought was the big holdup on like everything. So that seems like an item that may still need attention. I think having a performance management plan to go along with the Kemper report as the steering document is great, but the piece I see missing is that financial analysis.
Thank you, Commissioner Rich. Do I have any further committee comment, please?
Yeah, I've got my hand raised.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, Mark. I honestly cannot see your hand raised. Shannon can, but I can't, and I'm sorry. Please, go ahead.
Anyway, the RFP for an operator to run the the PUF unit, I think, would be critical to purchasing property and building on a specific site. I don't see any of that being communicated or being done behind the scenes. I mean, I feel a little, I don't know how to say it. We've been tasked with bringing recommendations to the board, and the board are doing things that we have no knowledge of. And I don't know what to say about that. Or some of us have knowledge of it, but the formal board has no knowledge. So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Commissioner Myrtle. Do I have any other committee comment, please? Okay, so just to answer really quickly, Kemper Committee is going to get together in May, and we're going to look at what he laid out. And hopefully we will bring something back to you now that it has been adopted. May not want it, may not agree to it, but we have approval from the board and they're looking towards it. They're also looking, actually, if I read it correctly, and sorry, I put it away. I think they're asking for behavioral health recovery services to do this, and maybe we can take a little bit of the onus off of them. I'm not sure about that. I have to look at policies and procedures for that. Community always screws me up. Any community comment?
Donna, well, since Member Myrtle asked about it, I do recall Dr. Miller providing an update to the Board of Supervisors regarding the RFP for operations for the PUF. Maybe she could also provide that update for this committee.
Commissioner Miller, would you be able to do that, please?
Sure. So we did present to the Board of Supervisors the operator for the crisis residential treatment facility. That draft contract was approved for us to move forward with contracting with Redwood Community Services. And I know everyone received that information. We are in the process of issuing a notice of award for a psychiatric health facility operator. We will be issuing saying we're interested in working with them so we can negotiate the right price with an operator that we are looking forward to working with. And that information should be going to the joint meeting on the 24th. So there should be a draft contract or more information presented to the Board of Supervisors for approval on the 24th.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Further comment? Thank you, everyone. And this brings us to the one that I'm sorry, did I miss something?
There is public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sherry?
Sherry Abram, is that you?
That's me. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So I did have my hand up for a comment on the financial report. I just wanted to kind of reiterate what Member Riley said, which is this is a wonderful report. It's so much clearer and complete. So thank you very much for the people involved that put that together. And then as far as this agenda item, I have sent a financial plan to a few members of the Measure B committee, and I would just like to say that I'm happy to offer it gratis to the Measure B if they would find it useful in any way to use. It's available. So I just want to throw that out there, that I'm happy to just pass it your way. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate it. I am very sorry that I missed you the last time.
That's all right. Not a big deal.
Thank you very much. Any further committee comment?
We have Supervisor Haschak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Supervisor Haschak, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think that the financial plan that Sherry Ebium has worked up is really useful, and it puts all these numbers into perspective and gives us a plan of how much money we've collected, where it's been spent, and how much would be projected, and it kind of lays it out in a very clear way. So I think that the Measure B Oversight Committee could be very well served by using that, and I think that as we move forward, with this PUF and the potential contract we have, I guess what we need to do is look at the contract, see how much it's going to cost ongoing, and see how that's going to impact that financial plan that Sherry has presented. And then we will kind of know, how much money do we have to use for the construction or remodeling of a facility. So those are the big considerations when we talk about, hey, where are we with the money situation and what can we afford? Because those are the big questions that we have about the PUF. And also, I guess I would go back to if Dr. Miller knows about the audit process and if that's happening yet. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Haschak. And Commissioner Miller, do you have any comment on Supervisor Haschak's comment?
I don't. This was something we were going to be asking Lloyd to look into. I did talk to Lloyd, so he's on here, so he can say the county did do an independent audit. We do one every 2 to 3 years. Lloyd would know exact time. The last one he told me was on June 30th, but it does not look like we can consider that, even though they audited Measure B, it doesn't look like we can consider that as an audit. So we will, so I was asking Lloyd, assuming that we will have to hire an independent contractor to do that, and then those documents need to come in front of the committee for review. So we'll need to work on, I'll work with Lloyd on moving forward with hiring an independent auditor to audit Measure B. And Lloyd may have more to add.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Weir, do you have anything to add, please?
Yeah. Understand that the audit that's performed at the county audits all of the funds in the county, of which Measure B is one of the funds. And it actually does a deeper dive into what they call major funds that are over a certain threshold. And our Measure B fund is over that threshold. So what that means is the independent auditor performed additional testing on the transactions in that fund, and we're able to, clear up anything if there was any issues or not. They covered those and solved them. And so the audit is approved at the county level, and there are no issues, and that includes Measure B. However, you can't say that's an independent audit of Measure B. To me, that's not making that statement. So even though we paid for it and it's included in there, and a lot of work was done in that fund, and there's about 4 or 5 pages in the report that show that fund, when it comes right down to it, I don't think it really actually is an actual independent audit of just Measure B. You'd have to go out and hire a firm to perform that individually. So I hope that clears it up.
Thank you, Commissioner Weir. Do I have any questions on that? Okay, I have one more community comment, I believe. Lily?
Yes, Joe Bradley.
Joe?
Hi. A couple of things. When I have sat on other boards, when we had public monies, we did have to do independent audits, and I think it's a really good idea. They never found anything wrong, but it's just a good idea. The other thing I'm really concerned about is that you as a committee are tasked with giving direction. And I find it really frustrating, and I told one of the supervisors this directly, that the supervisors are doing things and not having any communication with your committee, and that they've gone and said, well, we want to do this and we want to do this, when they really should be coming to the committee and going, you know, we really would like this. Would you guys talk about it? And then you guys go back to them. And I think they're putting the horse in the cart in the wrong direction. And I don't know how to fix this. Maybe when we have our meeting on the 24th of May, that can be brought up so that we can set a communication tree or whatever in place so that this doesn't keep happening. Because I am not even on your committee and I'm finding it really frustrating. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Do I have any other community comment, Lily?
No.
Do I have any further committee comment? No. So now we will move on to the meeting.
Hold on a second. I couldn't get unmuted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
sounds
sorry.
Like, do we need to take action on getting an independent study authorized, or are we going to wait another month?
We have to wait another month because it's not on the agenda. I'm sorry, but we can put it on the agenda for next month.
Why do we have to approve it? It's in the ordinance. I mean, it's mandated by law at this point.
You know what? You got me.
Well, we probably have to authorize the funds for doing it. Yeah. We shouldn't just say, hey, go get an independent audit and it costs $1 million.
Yeah, so the hiring of an auditor needs to happen. And so, yeah, I guess, I don't know. Well, I don't know either. We're not the ones who authorize the funds anyway. It's the Board of Supervisors, and they've already directed.
So they could technically, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I'm sorry, but to save time, it is in the statute. They could authorize the doing of it.
Well, and if it's within under a certain dollar threshold, the purchasing or whoever does it can make that happen without having to come back and ask for permission.
Right. I concur. Sorry, Mark, I can't see your hand. I don't know why. I apologize. Is there any other further committee comment? So now this next one, I want to make sure, and I wanted to make sure it was on the agenda because it was brought up to me, and I assume everyone here has received a phone call as to whether they can be at this meeting or not. The 24th, Shannon, no, you did not receive.
First time I heard about it was at the Board of Supervisors meeting on the 20th.
Okay. My apologies then. I thought everyone had been called to find out if they could attend. This was brought up to me. This is not something we have an option on. We can be there or not. This I'm going to read verbatim, sent to me by the CEO clerk of the board as to this agenda item. This month, the Board of Supervisors directed county staff to schedule a joint meeting of the Board of Supervisors, the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, and the Measure B Committee for the afternoon of May 24th, 2021. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss the three entities' roles and how they intersect to serve the behavioral health community. Additionally, the Board of Supervisors would like to focus on decisions regarding a PUF, a psychiatric health facility. Should we or shouldn't we? If so, what is a good location, etc. Again, based on Board of Supervisors direction, staff will bring forward information on the county building on Whitmore Lane. The Board of Supervisors schedule for the next few months is quite full due to the PG&E funding, budget development, cannabis, and the overall business of the county. Therefore, this date is the first available date for a joint meeting. We are hopeful most, if not all, members of the Measure B committee will be available for this meeting. Thank you, Carmel J. Angelo, CEO, COE, obviously, County Executive Officer and Clerk of the Board. Do I have any committee comment? And then I will just add one thing afterwards.
What time is the meeting scheduled for?
That is Commissioner Haschak still on here, Lily?
Yes.
Commissioner Haschak, is it my understanding it's in the afternoon?
Yes, that's my understanding too. So that would probably be 1:30.
Till about what time, Supervisor Haschak?
I don't know, however long it takes.
Okay. So we're looking at the afternoon, Commissioner Riley.
I got that. My schedule's pretty full too. So as soon as we nail down a time, if that could be sent out, that'd be great.
Okay. The second thing I wanted to make very sure of is that this is technically not in lieu of our May 26th meeting, but I want to make sure all committee members and the public are aware. I am assuming, and this is my assumption, that we will still meet on the 26th, and this is a special meeting, but I would like to hear from the committee, please. Are we in agreement with me, or are we not? Or are we going to wait until the agenda comes out, which the agenda, to my understanding, and Commissioner Haschak, correct me if I'm wrong, it will come out 7 days ahead of time?
I think it's important to keep
You're
with our
talking
meeting
about-
schedule.
Chair, you're talking about the agenda?
Yes, for the 24th. That will come out when?
No, usually 3 days before.
3 days.
Three
I'm
working
sorry.
days.
Yeah.
My
And I
mistake.
am checking with the clerk of the board right now to see what time.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, Commissioner Riley.
That's okay. I didn't realize there was an outstanding question. I think it's important to keep with our regular meeting schedule. There is a lot happening, if not at this committee level, at the supervisors level, and at least we can remain informed of that.
Perfect. And that's what I wanted to make sure of this meeting, is that we understood as a committee that we would still be meeting on Wednesday. That this is a special meeting. Does anyone else have any comments on that? Okay. So as far as I know, the clerk of the board will be, and I'd like to note that Commissioner Allman just entered the meeting, please, Lily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
so did
we-
Ross. So did Ross.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's Ross too. So we're just on the 24th meeting, and that we are talking about making the clarification that we are still having a Measure B meeting on the 26th, because these are two basically separate, non-separate items. So I want to make you gentlemen aware of that. And unless there's any further committee comment on that, I will move to community comment. Hearing none, do I have any community comment on the 24th?
Clear about the independent audit, and the board did, and I had my hand raised, but you didn't call on me.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
that's all right. The board did direct staff to do this independent audit. So I don't think any further action needs to be done by the oversight committee, because it's in the charter, and it's within the board's purview to spend that money. So that's where we are with it. It should be done. That's why I was asking if it's been done yet. So it should be done soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Haschak. And I am going on the assumption that once the agenda for the 24th meeting is made and finalized, that Measure B and BHAB will get that will be sent out to all members. And we will still hold our meeting on Wednesday, May 26th. Is everyone fine with that? Okay, any further committee comment or community comment, please? Hearing none, thank you, everyone. We will have updates. Lily, could you please ask for member updates, and then we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Commissioner Almond, no. I'm not sure if he can hear us. Commissioner Barish,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Liberty,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Myrtle,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Miller,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Rich,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Riley,
No report.
Commissioner Weir,
Nothing to report.
and Chair Moscati.
Nothing other than happy April. I will see you May 24th and May 26th. And thank you all for your dedication. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your April and a happy May.